Not only do the Arizona Cardinals have a distinct advantage in the first 6 games of this season, they have an advantage at quarterback for the majority of the season. How Kyler Murray stacks up against his peers, including one that just got paid today. Brock Purdy, a blessing to the rest of the NFC West, Johnny Venerable.
Yeah, we laugh at the Brock Purdy deal. We also do a deep dive, a detective scenario of sorts with a certain photo from the Cardinals team site. That's coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals now. Hey, welcome in. From Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast for Football Friday, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brock in Studio K. We got Kev behind the mic, the host of the PHNX Wildcats podcast. Where's his co-host? Where's our producer? No one knows. Does anyone care? We'll find out.
There's word that there could be a return of the Damon Dog. The prodigal son could return as early as tomorrow when we're out there at Salt River Fields for the Kyler Murray Foundation Celebrity Softball game. I see Jackson already saying, softball tomorrow. That's exactly right. Can't wait to see everybody out there. But I love to see everybody in the chat. What's going on? I saw Chase. How about Sag, Ryan Walker, Ozzy, Doc XD, Mr. Fact Gangster, Jules Felix, Ollie, Emily JoJo, Daddy 2 times, E-Man 19, the squad. That's like what we like to call all of you. It's new. I don't know if anybody's used that before, but this is our squad. This is our community. And we are pleased to be here talking some ball.
Fired up here to welcome everybody on this fine program on a Football Friday. Pretty loaded little podcast, little fanboy podcast today. We were going to talk about, before the Purdy news, the hierarchy of the quarterbacks the Cardinals face this year and why it's in the headlines and the show tile. The Cardinals have and should have a distinct advantage most Sunday. You said it well earlier this week, Bo. There's not a game this year where the Cardinals can't win, can't be competitive, can't get a dub. Whereas in years prior, whether it's Kansas City or maybe at Baltimore last year at Buffalo, there were games where we were like, how are they going to pull that off, right? Based on the infrastructure, the roster, K1 not back from his ACL. That's not the case this year. But before we get to that, we get the breakdown going. Breaking news this afternoon by Diana Rossini of The Athletic. Brock Purdy's payday. We knew it was coming. It's a Friday news dump. There it is. Brock Purdy, 5 years, $265 million extension, including almost $200 million in guarantees from a bunch of people, including our guy Mike Garofolo, who I will mention by name here on this podcast. But again, emphasis on the 49ers dumping this on a Friday afternoon, which again, like, say what you want about Brock Purdy, overachieved, Mr. Irrelevant, great human being from Arizona. You don't put this out on a Friday if you don't think there's going to be some pushback. People are on to their weekends. They're partying. They're lit. They're living it up. Like, you want eyeballs on this. You put it out throughout the other 4 business days of the week. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, yeah, you want prime time, right? For the most important position in all of sports. But yeah, maybe a Friday news dump for Brock Purdy, an anticipated contract. I think a polarizing contract extension because there's, people on both sides of the aisle. Like, is he worth it? Or is he a product of the environment that he was drafted into as Mr. Irrelevant so many years ago out of Iowa State, where, I tried to look up, Johnny, and this was genuine. I tried to look up Brock Purdy's statistics without Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel. And I was just overwhelmed, inundated by memes of fries in the bag, bro, and stuff like that, where just there is so much of a lack of belief in Brock Purdy when he's not gifted just the Avengers as far as playmakers surrounding him?
It is the most hilarious scenario to think that a kid who is immobile, who's got, I would say, a C+ arm to C- arm, that Super Bowl team had the best collection of offensive skill players I have seen in my adult life. They had what I thought should have been the MVP of the NFL in Christian McCaffrey, 2 Pro Bowl caliber receivers, maybe the best tight end in the NFL, the best left tackle in the NFL, a high-level offensive play caller, right, who hasn't gone anywhere. And now you subtract, I would say conservatively, 80% of that, and you feel like, well, this guy's going to take the next step and get us to where we want to be. Like, good luck. Like, do I think Brock Purdy is going to be a disaster, nightmare world? No, I think he'll be fine. I think you'll get games where he puts up a bunch of faux yards and they win because I think Kyle Shanahan's super high level. And then there are going to be games where, like, where the Niners think they are, right, where the national media thinks the Niners are going on the road and beating good teams, those days are over. They will win games by default because their schedule is so ass. But like, hey, Brock Purdy, go beat Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. The hell you are. You're not going to do that. You're not beating Jalen Hurts. I don't think you're beating Kyler Murray. So I think what this is a commitment. You saw it from Rossini and people on Twitter. It's like they made a decision last year. This is their guy. And he's a rah-rah kid. You love him for sure. A great human being. This isn't about an indictment of the player. He has no special traits. He has no special qualities that warrant this extension. And everybody with a brain, and the people who didn't have a brain wanted him to be MVP 2 years ago. Anybody with a functioning brain can say to themselves, he was elevated like we've never seen a player before en route to the Super Bowl. And when he lost those playmakers last year and he had to overcome adversity, what he ended up with 6 wins. 6 wins.
I'm trying to think of what the crescendo is going to be of the Brock Purdy story, because it is. You're right. It's a great story, right? Yeah. I mean, there's the Kurt Warner, the American underdog. Brock Purdy, I think, in line with that as a guy that went from overlooked draft prospect, Mr. Irrelevant, starting his first year, thrust in the starting and being the best quarterback because of how badly they missed on Trey Lance. Still hilarious little cliff note there. And then, Brock Purdy, throwing for 31 touchdowns for, as you mentioned, just an embarrassment of riches from the playmaking department. But now you look at those 31 touchdowns that he threw. Christian McCaffrey was tied for the team lead with that 7 touchdowns. You've got Brandon Ayuk, who was also in the lead for that, and Deebo Samuel. 3 of those guys had 7 touchdowns. As it stands right now, those 3 guys aren't even available to the San Francisco 49ers. He's going to have to, like Tom Brady did so well throughout his career, remake himself. And Brady did that without the luxury of top-tier playmaking. Like, he had to make and elevate the game of, like, the Julian Edelmans of the world. Does Brock Purdy have that ability? I would be very skeptical of that. I am skeptical of that because he doesn't possess what Brady had coming out of Michigan, above average arm strength, better size. Of course, he didn't have the mobility, but I think that this is not going to be a contract that's going to age well for the Niners.
You pay a quarterback this amount of money with the idea that they can carry you through lean years as a franchise. They can get you to a point where even with, draft busts aplenty, and the Niners have had their fair share, like, hey, our quarterback, he's a franchise quarterback capable of getting us to the playoffs every year. We're going to talk about Kyler Murray here in a second, but like when Kyler Murray plays, the Cardinals are around 500, right? When he has a great team and now I think a great coaching staff and a great general manager, we think he's going to be well over 500. Like Brock Purdy showed last year throughout the majority of this season, when his team is not great, he is not a 500 quarterback. This year, when he plays good teams, how could you pick them to beat good teams without Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey? Like that trio, one of the most physically gifted trios in the last 20 years in the NFL. George Kittle just signed a new deal. He's over 30 years old. They're bringing back Kyle Juszczyk. Trent Williams is a year away from retirement. I will eat all the crow this year and in the future years if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are proven right that this deal is going to age well. But I mean, come on. Like you've compiled a list, Bo, of players that are now below Brock Purdy, and the list is pretty absurd.
I think the company he's keeping, it's interesting, like right around the average annual salary for Brock Purdy, $53 million across this deal, which is incredible. Like we talk about the lore of Brock Purdy, the guy that made, I think it was like $3 million combined up into this point in his NFL career. And now he's going to make $50 million more on average per season.
Yeah.
Like a tip of the cap. A bag getter's tip of the cap, my guy. That's fantastic. But like he's in this realm, like 53 million. It's like Tua and it's Jared Goff. Like those are the three guys making that much money. And it's like Paul Rudd on Hot Ones saying, look at us. Look at us. Nobody would have envisioned that a couple of years ago. But our guy Kevin, if we could see the list of the top annual average money makers at the quarterback position, you'll see that Kyler Murray's been pushed all the way down to 12th overall. Dak Prescott's making the most, Johnny, $60 million per season. A hilarious number 2 on this list. Trevor Lawrence making $55 million. Jordan Love, Josh Allen at $55 million. Joe Burrow at $55 million. I mentioned that group of guys making $53 million. Tua, Brock, Jared Goff. And then you get kind of maybe the underpaid guys. We'll see. Herbert has to kind of have a good year. Herbert's at 9th at 52.5. And then the criminally underpaid Lamar Jackson at $52 million. Jalen Hurts at $51 million as he hoists his Lombardi trophy. And then Kyler Murray, $46.1 million coming at 12th. It continues to, it's aging nicely because it's proving what what many of us said when Kyler Murray got the deal, when people were questioning it. It's the price of doing business. It's the market for paying a starting caliber quarterback. People get blown away by the sticker price and they say he's not worth that. It's like you have to watch it how this thing ages. And like Kyler Murray, I think maybe for a second was the highest paid quarterback.
For like an hour, right? Yeah. Purdy in 2023, when people that were morons said that he was the MVP of the NFL, 4,200 yards passing, 31 passing touchdowns. That's an MVP. What? Did you watch the games? You remember how many like bubble screens he would throw? I remember embedding a clip and he threw like a bubble screen to Ayuk or Debo and they took it like 60 yards. And there were people in their media department for San Francisco in their market saying, oh my God, Brock Purdy is just, he's so special, gifted thrower of the football. I'm like, what are we watching? So I'm happy for Brock. Listen, he's from Queen Creek. Go ahead.
Listen to this little stat.
Yeah.
In 2023, the San Francisco 49ers led the league in average yards per catch. As far as like yak goes, they were getting 5.7 yards per catch.
Surprised it's not higher. They were number 1.
Yeah, yards after catch, they were getting 13 points. Yeah, they're getting that per reception. Sorry about that. I mean, as far as trying to find the yak, completely pulled the shoot on this conversation.
No,
Keep going.
You're good. I was just gonna make a point about Brock, and then we'll talk Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy from Queen Creek, Arizona. Listen, I love Queen Creek, right? I go to Queen Creek. There's a Trader Joe's there. There's a Target there.
The QC, right?
There's a In-N-Out burger there. Queen Creek is up and coming, man. Brock Purdy, congrats. You're the best thing come out of Queen Creek. We're happy for you. You are not the best quarterback in this division by a long shot. You are probably, in my opinion, the worst quarterback in the division. Sam Darnold was at least drafted in the first round.
Wow.
I think Sam Darnold is better than Brock Purdy. We have not ever seen – I have seen Kyler Murray win Offensive Rookie of the Year with an old Larry Fitzgerald and Farrell Cooper at wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
And respectfully, an aging David Johnson. I have seen Kyler Murray make the Pro Bowl and have over 35 total touchdowns with just DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Yeah.
And so I've seen Kyler Murray have 5 touchdowns in an opener and should have been the MVP if he hadn't gotten hurt. And Darnold himself had a better year last year than Purdy ever had. So I'm putting Brock Purdy 4th in this division based on physical skills alone. I think Brock means more to Shanahan than he does the rest of the NFL, because if Brock Purdy hit the open market, 99% of teams he is a byproduct of their system and the infrastructure that they had. And when that was pulled away from him, he does not have special qualities. and he's an average to slightly above average quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he is not going to get them to where they want to be. Turned the ball over a lot last year. They have a they have one of the best left tackles in the history of the league,
right?
Who is a play away from just being, I'm done, I'm good, right? It's a house of cards, no pun intended, with San Francisco, where I saw somebody put in the chat, like, they need Ricky Pearsall to be a savior receiver. Good luck with that. Congrats.
They do. I mean, they do. They need Jennings to step back up and show his maturation, his development. And you've got Pearsall, who they utilize the first round pick on, and the two guys that they're going to try to replace, and they need Ayuk to come back and be who he was before his injury last year. He was struggling a little bit after signing the big deal. There was reports that they wanted to trade Brandon Ayuk this offseason. Maybe it still happens. Who knows? 6.6 yards after contact, or 6.6 yards of yards after catch. I apologize, for the Niners that season. So you're getting well on your way to 3/4 of a first down there before, after the catch. That's pretty impressive.
Can I also say too, like, he was hurt 3 years ago. He was hurt last year. Like, there's no guarantee he's going to be able to take a pounding that's necessary. That offense is predicated on running the football, getting leads, closing teams away in the fourth quarter. Brock Purdy is not equipped, in my opinion, to play from behind. And you're going to watch this year, like you saw last year, where it's like, hey, go win us a game in the third and fourth quarter. He's just not capable of doing that. And I think that puts more pressure on him physically, certainly. That I cannot emphasize enough. That team 2 years ago, that was their window. Give them credit, Shanahan and the guy that went to Washington, Adam Peters, and of course, John, give them all credit. They put together a super team. Now it's 24 months later. It's over.
I love it.
That
How about distinction? I love this distinction for him that, one of the best teams not to win a title.
Congrats. Get the banner ready.
Pour one out, man. Shed a tear for that squad. They couldn't get it done. Put them up there, raise the banner, put them up there with the 93 Suns, put them up. It's tough.
It's very
We've been
tough.
there.
Absolutely.
I saw this stat.
Yeah.
Niners spending $200 million on 7 players. You got Purdy making 53 per season. Nick Bosa making 34 million. Ayuk's making 30 million on average.
Okay.
Trent Williams just under 28. Kittle making just over 19. Warner making over 19. I think he's looking for a raise too. And McCaffrey's making $19 million. That would be, on average, it's 72% of the current cap. Now, I know like Purdy's isn't going to hit until next year. But I mean, mortgage payments are going to come, and you look at the recent investments; they're not what they once were. They're spending first round picks on Pearsall, who I don't think, like, as much as you might like him, he doesn't profile as the number one wide receiver. He doesn't project as that. Like Debo's gone. Ayuk, we'll see if he comes back. It's more and more routine. I think he can come back, but it's showing that they're seeing they're falling victim to the cap league.
They're never gonna be truly terrible because of their head coach. They will never bottom out. I don't think, even though some of those early years they were lean under Shanahan.
When they're not dealt 4 aces, they're kind of like they fall under 500.
I also think we talk about this every show. Cardinals just really match up well with San Francisco now. They could not compete 2 years ago in the second half because of the line of scrimmage play. Cardinals, I expect Cardinals to sweep San Francisco. I outlined it yesterday in our prediction show. How do the Cardinals and Kyler Murray stack up against the rest of the quarterbacks that are on their schedule? We know they're going to face Brock Purdy twice. How many games are they going to have a distinct advantage? Let's take a look here. Opposing quarterbacks as it stands right now for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025. We'll just go through these. Tyler Shuck, Bryce Young, Brock Purdy twice, Sam Darnold twice, Cam Ward, Anthony Richardson, or Danny Dimes. Somebody was touting Anthony Richardson got jacked this offseason. That'll save it. That'll do it. Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Stafford twice, CJ Stroud, Michael Penix, and Joe Burrow. So before we get into the Kyler Murray conversation, How many truly elite quarterbacks do the Cardinals face this year, Bo Brock?
Truly elite. Truly elite? I mean,
Yeah.
they don't face anybody that's in that current conversation. I mean,
You
you're
don't
talking
think
about like,
Stafford's elite?
huh?
You don't think Stafford's elite?
No, I think he's really, really good.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking like, are you talking like Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Burrow?
I'm answering my own question. I would put Stafford and Burrow in an elite quarterback category. I think elite to me is
I
like,
apologize. Burrow, and I said Burrow's in that. So Burrow's in
Yeah.
that conversation. I mean, I think Matthew Stafford's great. I do. I just don't know if I think that there's 5 guys probably that you want. I think guys like Stafford and Jordan Love, like those are 2 quarterbacks that I think you probably give the advantage to the opposition there. Kevin, if we could, let's see that list again as far as, I think, Prescott, CJ Stroud, those guys are good. And then you get to another level where it's like Darnold, maybe obviously I think Mayfield's ahead of Darnold. And then you get to another tier and it's like Penix, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, Stafford's numbers last year were really bad. I didn't realize.
I know, but he made timely throws. He
Right.
stepped up when the moment called for it.
Okay, so we'll be fair here. Burrow, based on the quarterbacks the Cardinals face, is in a class of his own. He is in the elite class, in his prime, top 5 right now, clutch. Burrow is the number 1 quarterback the Cardinals face this year. Then there's another group right below it where it's Stafford leading that group.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Jordan Love and I think Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott, right? I'll put those guys in a category. So we'll go Burrow in tier 1, tier 2, Stafford, CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, and then everything else is, in my opinion, not trash, but it's average to below average. So with our own math, the Cardinals should have a distinct, not slight, a distinct quarterback advantage in roughly 10 of the 17 games next year. And then in games against those other 7, I think you would say coin flip opportunity, maybe better depending on where the team is at. So we outline this because there have been years prior where the Cardinals maybe wouldn't have a quarterback advantage, right? Or they would lose to teams with, lesser rosters but superior quarterbacks. It lines up this year for Kyler Murray, by the way, to join that group in tier 2, where he is unequivocally better than Dak, better than Jordan Love, putting Matthew Stafford on retirement, right? That has to be the goal this year, to overtake the NFC West and to sidestep and stiff arm these guys in tier 2. Because again, I think before last year and the disappointing stretch run, you and I would have included him firmly in that category of like, well, sure, he's better than these guys. But here's what I'll give all those players the benefit of the doubt. They've all been to the playoffs. They've all won division titles. They've all won playoff games. Dak's won a playoff game. Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, certainly Stafford, like Stroud's won playoff games. That's Kyler Murray's next step to where he has to be. And I think we all agree he's very capable of doing that.
And when you see like the list that we put up of the top 12 paid quarterbacks, you're like $46.1 million.
Yeah.
You have a good year statistically. You do it from a consistency standpoint.
Yeah.
What you should expect on a week by week basis from Kyler Murray. And Jonathan Gannon said he's going to play at that level. He has confidence he's going to play at that level consistently. And then you get to the playoffs and you win a game. Then you start looking at, okay, that's where the true value is, Kyler Murray and that contract being down that list. But as we stand it, right now, you say, okay, well, these rankings just make sense. Where you're just like, then you were like, well, and then there's some true value there. But and you have to be able to make people say, like Kyler Murray, you can distinguish where he is with his counterpart week in and week out. And it's going to be up to him and Drew Petzing and this offense to kind of separate themselves, because right now there isn't a ton of separation. There is, because there is, as far as what you've seen in spurts and flashes and stuff like that and skill set. But as far as some of these guys, credit to them as far as their ability to do it consistently. I think that's where Baker Mayfield has been able to do a good job in his resurgence after he was being labeled a bust, coming back and consistently putting up big numbers week in and week out. Remember that? Like when he first went to the Bucs and you saw him flash and he had like a 3-touchdown performance, a 4-touchdown performance, and then he parlayed it into it. And you're like, yeah, is Baker back? And then he puts together that season last year and back to the playoffs. That's where you really get people to start to believe in you and your ability to kind of lead and be dominant from that position.
I think you're just, if you're Kyler Murray, it's like, can you get to a point where you're just churning out 2 touchdowns a game from you yourself, passing, rushing, and then minimizing the turnovers, right? Because then you assume, well, the defense is going to make plays, our run game's going to score, our run game's going to produce. Can Kyler Murray come out and minimum every Sunday put the ball in the end zone twice? I think if he can do that this year, I mean, twice is 34 total touchdowns on the year. Like that, typically it's like you want to get to the playoffs, your quarterback's got to be in the area of like 28 to 32 touchdowns. So, it's not all X's and O's or apples and oranges or whatever you want to call it. But I will say Kyler Murray understands the task at hand this year, right? Not that he didn't in years prior, but the pressure's on because this team's ready to win. And I don't think they would have it any other way. The team is ready to win, and Kyler Murray is poised to rejoin a class of quarterbacks that you're going to be able, unlike Brock Purdy, to say every year, like, this guy's going to get us in contention to make the playoffs and hopefully win playoff games. It's a shame the season doesn't start for another 3.5 months. I'll tell you what's not a shame. Our guy, Fran Duffy, right around the corner. It's PHNX Cardinals. Fran Duffy staying cool, maybe because he's got All Pro Shades concepts. I'll have to ask him. Extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. Hundreds of designs and colors to choose from. And you can chat with your HOA for approvals on motorized, retract with a remote control. How about some LED lighting to light up your patio under the awning? Roll down those patio shades to block out the sun and keep the patio up to 20 degrees cooler. Hundreds of colors, durable fabric to withstand the Arizona sun. Choose from manual to motorized. They've got sealed track or cable shades. They've got drop downs and more. You can also replace and fix most outdoor patio shades outdated with our friends at All Pro Shades Concepts. They can take care of that. Most trusted local company, voted #1 in Arizona of patio shades in 2024. That's because they've got the BBB A+ rating with over 1,000 5-star reviews in business for 20 years in the Valley. Just starting out making window shades by hand for friends and family. Now they're one of the largest installers of patio shades and roll down motorized awnings in the Valley. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Check them out right now. Get your free estimate today. Give them a phone call, 623-204-1476. That's 623-204-1476, or visit them, allproshadeconcepts.com.
Incredible news from our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Sanderson Ford and Ford are announcing the From America for America employee pricing. What does that mean? That means you're going to get the same pricing as what Sanderson Ford and their great employees are making across the country. That means it's included with their no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and now no added markups as far as their great inventory of vehicle out there in the West Valley. On top of employee pricing, get an additional Ford incentives on over 1,000 vehicles during the Sanderson Ford Platinum 70th anniversary sale. 7 decades of just being a dealership that's just built on service. Check them out, Sanderson Ford. They have the inventory celebrating those 70 years of treating you right. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford at Sanderson Ford with the From America for America employee pricing. Celebration does not, it doesn't stop. It also includes a pair of tickets to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks in July. They're taking on the Kansas City Royals while supplies of 200 tickets last. Of course, the pricing excludes 2025 Expedition Super Duty Raptor family Mustang and Bronco specialty vehicles, but can still get that truck, Johnny. Go check them out. You got to go stop by to even be in try to not fib about being a truck guy. You can make it a reality with our friends over at Sanderson Ford.
Big thanks to our friends at Sanderson Ford, who will make me a truck man. Not a truck guy, but a truck man. How about that with our friends Manalytics? Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. We got Fran Duffy right around the corner. Drop a quick reminder for everybody. We've still got 30% off the entire merchandise locker ending today. So you want to pick up this T-shirt? How about this hat? And Bo's hat that he's repping right now, maybe? How about his T-shirt? 30% off. Up to 75% off right now. It's the spring cleaning clearance sale. Out with the old, which is elite. In with the new, which is also elite. Load up on PHNX gear, including our MHJ collection, number 18 collection. How about that? How about our sweatshirt, which is premier? And depending on where you're at in the continental United States, grab that sweatshirt. You might need it. Here in Arizona, we've tucked it away for the coming 6 months or so. But again,
the Greg Dortch T-shirt, the biggest steal of the entire All-City company. You can get a vintage Greg Dortch tee, throwback, if you will. My former podcast host, one of my favorite co-hosts I've ever had, no doubt about it. In the conversation, you can get that tee for $8. $8.
We're waiting on Fran Duffy. Should we get to this in the meantime? Fran was going to jump on at what time?
He's jumping on right now. It was my apology. I sent him the link like last second. He was like, "We still doing this?" Yeah, we are. It's my fault. There he is. There's our guy. The franchise mode. Fran Duffy joins us here on PHNX Cardinals. What's going on, Fran?
It's another day in paradise. It's like pouring rain outside. It's somewhere between winter and spring, but we're here. What's going on?
We're laughing at the Brock Purdy contract extension. The Philadelphia Eagles have had their way with Purdy in the past. You're based out of Philly. You know a lot about that franchise. What's your immediate reaction to Purdy's deal, and do you think it's going to hamper what they want to do long term?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it seemed inevitable, even though the limitations are with Purdy. I think he had reached a certain point where you knew he was going to get this tier of contract. I was surprised it took as long as it did, to be honest. I thought this would be done literally as soon as possible, just to avoid the number from rising further than it even needed to. At the end of the day, look, he got less APY than Tua, which kind of surprised me. He got more guaranteed than Tua, got more guaranteed than Love. So he's in that tier, and they just got to keep trucking along. Obviously, they made a lot of tough decisions financially this offseason, had to move on player on both sides of the football, and they were doing that, preparing for this moment.
You know, we've been talking about on this show a lot because so much is made of Brock Purdy and the playmakers around him, and you've seen a bit of a deterioration from that. Debo's now in the NFC East playing for the Commanders. Christian McCaffrey, there's questions about as far as his health overall. George Kittle's another year older. Brandon Ayuk's coming off the ACL. Brock Purdy was kind of benefited from having a wealth, an embarrassment of riches. How have you seen John Lynch and his ability to kind of rebuild that offense, and how, especially with a first round pick last season they used on Ricky Pearsall? How do you just kind of view their ability to kind of refill the cupboard?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is that this is where the Trey Lance miss really hurt them, right? Because they gave up so many quality assets in that trade to try to make that move up. And obviously missed. Now, they made up for it. We didn't feel it at that position because they hit on Purdy. But I think at the end of the day, when you look at John Lynch and that track record, they were crushing it on day 3 of the draft. Middle rounds, late rounds, they found outstanding value those first couple of years that he and Kyle Shanahan worked together. And then they hit a bit of a cold streak. And so I think that what they need is to start again once they get into those middle late rounds and finding surplus value with some of these picks. And for their sake, you hope they can do it. For all of our viewers here on this show, you're hoping that they're not able to find that magic sauce again.
Yeah, let's turn our attention to a division rival, the Arizona Cardinals of San Francisco. Swept San Francisco last year. Looking at this team, I know we've talked throughout the course of the offseason. We talked about Josh Sweat, the fit there. We talked about the returning Calais Campbell all the way through a banner NFL draft that's featured the likes of Will Johnson, Walter Nolan. Do you think, Fran, based on the schedule that was announced, which was favorable, and the offseason that this team has had, that this is a team firmly in the playoff bubble with the potential to contend in the NFC West?
Yeah, I mean, as we sit here in mid-May, I think you have to say, like, they're in the conversation, right? And the proof has got to be in the pudding. Like, you have to go and and show it on the field. I think they have not done much offensively to boost that side of the football. I think you're banking on continuity, another year for these guys playing for Drew Petzing, offensive line continuing to gel together, Marvin Harrison Jr. taking a step. So you're counting on that on one side. And then defensively, the influx of talent, right? And then guys staying healthy up front. And so if they're able to do that, yeah, this team should be in the mix to contend for one of these postseason spots. So now it's going to be about going out and doing something they have not been able to do here over these last few years.
We're talking about, of course, the Cardinals and their schedule that were released. I can't think of a better opponent week one in New Orleans with their quarterback room being in flux, a team that was just trending horribly to end last season, 4 straight losses, an average margin of defeat like 14.5 points. They were shut out in Green Bay. Not a whole lot going. The Kellen Moore, you got a lot of experience, obviously, covering him the lone season, helping the Eagles to a Super Bowl. But, like, who do you think, as far as the Cardinals and maybe even their rookie class, benefits from their week one opponent?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, this is a Saints team that is definitely going to be in some sort of transition, right? I mean, they have the question at quarterback with the new offensive scheme, defensive scheme. I mean, Dennis Allen has been the defensive coordinator, the defensive shot caller there for the better part of a decade, and so to now move on from that defensive system. This is a good opportunity to go up against this team in week one. I think when you're looking at Moore, it's going to be about timing and rhythm, especially if they do have to start Tyler Shuck. If Tyler Shuck's going to be the starter out of the gate, you have a rookie quarterback in his first start going up against Nick Rallis. We know all the different things they do from a disguise standpoint to try and mess with you and change the picture from pre-snap to post-snap. That's going to be tough for a rookie quarterback to kind of sort through. So it wouldn't shock me if it ended up being a vet to start the year, but I think at the end of the day, they do want to try and get a sense of what Tyler Shuck can bring to the table. I think there's a decent shot that you do see Tyler Shuck there in week one. I think it's a good matchup, certainly, for the Cardinals, and a good way to try and start the thing off right.
Yeah, I can't imagine taking a player like Tyler Shuck, who's in his late 20s, and not starting in week one. That'd be a huge indictment on your draft pick. We'll talk about the Cardinals draft, specifically Jordan Burch in the 3rd round. So it came up again this week. Trey Hendrickson holding out with Cincinnati. And when we had broken in on our show that the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cardinals had previously talked before free agency, now it was before Josh Sweat and a bunch of other stuff. But in your opinion, like, what would it take for the Cardinals to say, like, hey, Jordan Burch is a guy this year that's really gonna help us? Like, do you think he is that refined as a prospect collegiately that should be able to come in, like, get a handful of sacks this year? Or could this, based on what the tape showed at Oregon, is this a redshirt candidate for the Cardinals?
Honestly, I think both are a little bit true, Johnny, because I think when you look at Jordan Burch, yes, there is refinement that's needed, but I do think that when you look at the role that he can play for defense, and that's like, all right, like, hey, like, we don't need you to be super refined, but we're going to get you out there on 3rd and 8, and we just need you to, either be a guy that's going to crush the pocket off the edge, or just be an athletic mismatch on the interior. You don't necessarily need to be like the most refined, prospect in terms of being valuable in that kind of role. So I think when you look at Jordan Burch, yeah, I think that there's a path here where he could still be brought along slowly, but hey, if you're only going to play, 8 to 10 snaps a game, some of those are going to be high quality snaps. And we want you to, now, I think if you're the Cardinals, you'd like some of these other guys that you want Tavius, you want Robinson to be able to get a lot of these snaps. You want Ojulari to get a lot of these snaps. Obviously, you pay Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat's going to be out there. Walter Nolan's going to be out there. He's going to be competing for a role in that kind of a package. But to me, when I look at the way that he is put together, Jordan Burch, I mean, he is a physical specimen, right? And so this is a player that I think that you can kind of just let him pin his ears back and go. That's a good way to kind of ease him into the lineup. I do think that, he does need a little bit of polish, certainly, in all phases of the game. But I think the talent itself, it's worthy of early playing time.
You've done so much evaluation on this Cardinals draft class, and a lot of it's up. Go PHNX.com. I highly encourage people to check it out from our guy, Fran Duffy. But now that things have kind of marinated for a while after post-draft with 7 picks, have you kind of visualized what you think the roles would be for the respective players from like Walter Nolan, Will Johnson? Are you prepared to say, hey, this guy could be a starter. This is a rotational guy. This is a guy that's just a special teamer. Do you feel confident in any of those players in your evaluations?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think all these guys, those first couple names, I mean, we were talking Walter Nolan, and Walter Nolan should be able to come in and have an impact early on. Like maybe he's not listed as a starter, right? But I think at the end of the day, like he's going to play a good amount of the snaps. I look back to Jalen Carter, his first year here in Philadelphia with what he did. I mean, he was the 9th overall pick. This was a guy that was not listed as a starter, but played behind Fletcher Cox and played something like plus 40% of the snaps, and then obviously became a starter in year 2. I think you can have a similar kind of plan here for Walter Nolan and what his role could be with his defense. And then I look at Will Johnson and I'm saying like, yeah, like I think that there's a really good chance that he's the starter opposite Melton with Williams on the inside. You have that safety tandem. I think that's a pretty good starting 5 in the secondary. And so to me, I look at those two. We already talked about Jordan Birch. If you can get anything else from this day 3 group as a rookie, I think that's a great starting point. And that's not, taking into account guys like Ojulari, guys that are coming back healthy, hopefully. And now this defense, there's going to be a lot of new faces that should be able to go out and make an impact.
I'm going to try to say this with all the respect in the world. Walter Nolan, Bo was at practice, albeit for just a little bit, and saw Walter Nolan. You could see the physical presence, the way he hit the sled. Over in Cleveland, Mason Graham was barfing at practice. He was throwing up. Now, what I will say is it's just brief. He could be out of shape. But then there was also some aggregated content with Mason Graham kind of going through the bags, and people have been underwhelmed by Mason Graham in about 10 days as a Brown. Are you reading anything into that?
I'm old enough to remember when Jamar Chase dropped a couple passes in the spring, and that all got caught off by all the aggregators, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's a bust." And I'm telling you, I'm in a dynasty league. Jamar Chase fell to like the 9th pick in a dynasty draft because of like the spring reports, right? And it's just like insane highway robbery for the fantasy manager that ended up with it. I think it's the idea that, hey, like, yeah, it takes 1 or 2 clips, 1 or 2 moments, and sometimes that could be a bad harbinger, right? Like Traylon Burks, I remember, Traylon Burks a couple years ago with Tennessee. That was a big storyline coming out of Titans spring camp, was that like, oh, he looks out of shape and there's asthma and this, and obviously he never really got rolling there with the Titans. And so, yeah, it could go both ways, but I'm not ready to sell on Mason Graham stock.
I hate to do this. I'm seeing the chat and it looks like our guy Eddie has set it ablaze, talking about the Cardinals should have taken Shedeur Sanders. Can you just please, with your talents, your evaluation, and also the insights you get from NFL scouts, the skill set of Kyler Murray versus the skill set of Shedeur Sanders, and how you would evaluate that?
Yeah, I mean, Kyler is a much better physical talent. I don't think it's close. I think that when if you're just looking, and then obviously taking into account the fact that at the end of the day, let's just lay it out there. He went in the 5th round. If anyone thought that he had the ability to come in and unseat Kyler Murray, that he was that level of talent, even if he bombed the interviews, he's going 2nd round. Like he's going 3rd round. He's going 4th round. Right. He's going somewhere in between. I think from a skill set standpoint, yeah, he's several notches below Kyler Murray from an arm talent standpoint, from an athleticism standpoint, from a creativity standpoint. You go to, all right, like executing a pro style offense. Like we've seen Kyler Murray operate in the NFL for years now. Whereas, with Shedeur Sanders, like, yeah, they turned things around at Colorado, but it's not like, they were world beaters on the grandest stage. So I think at the end of the day, yeah, it's still a projection. We're talking about a rookie 5th round pick. Yeah, at the end of the day, like I don't think that there's a player going to come in and challenge Kyler Murray for a starting job.
Last question from me. I'll put you on the spot here on sunny May 16th. Offensive Rookie of the Year, if you had to make a prediction right now, who would you go with, given the fact that it doesn't feel slam dunk like a quarterback's going to win it? Horror show situation for everybody in New York and Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
We mentioned Tyler Shuck. I think the Saints could flirt with winless early on, and then Tennessee will fraud it up. They'll win about 5 or 6 games. Early odds to win, in your opinion, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, just thinking about it as you were asking the question, if I had to stack it, I would go Ashton Genty at 1. I just think that's going to be a run-heavy offense with Chip Kelly. He's obviously going to be the bell cow there. So I would say Genty would probably have the pole position. Cam Ward, I mean, let's I'm interested to wait and see. I do think that there's meat on the bone there offensively. I mean, that offensive line was hard last year, and while they had to overpay for some pieces here this spring, I do think there's reason to believe, especially with that coaching staff, that offensive line should be better. Calvin Ridley was one of the quietest 1,000-yard receivers in like recent NFL history last year with the Titans. So I think when you look at it, I think Cam Ward's going to be in a position where he could make a little bit of noise there. So I would put him at number 2 on the odds. And then let's go with Ted McMillan, as Bryce Young's number 1 receiver. I think that Dave Canales is going to be able to get a lot done there in terms of understanding how am I going to be able to get the most out of this player. So to me, I would put Ted McMillan there at number 3.
It's been interesting because we covered it so closely last year with rookie receivers and the expectations, and they get skewed because of the Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases, and we see Marvin Harrison Jr. get nearly 900 yards receiving on over 60 catches, 8 touchdowns, which is great. What do you think as far as T-Mac goes year 1 on that spectrum from a Marvin Harrison Jr. to like the big numbers like Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he definitely has the potential to come in and put up big numbers in that offense because, I know they spent a first-round pick on Xavier Legette last year. Legette's not the same tier of player that what we're talking about with Tetero and McMillan. And so I think McMillan stepped in. He's got the ability to be the primary pass catcher there. I talked about the one link, Dave Canales, he comes from that Pete Carroll tree, right? And that Washington staff with Jed Fish and Brennan Carroll, I'm pretty sure it was Brennan Carroll, was the offensive coordinator at Arizona when that had his big season in 2023, his sophomore year. That whole Washington staff was down there at U of A. And so when I look at Dave Canales, like, yeah, he can get on the phone with some of his old friends and some of his guys and say, like, all right, like, what are some of the best ways to be able to utilize this player? I think that he's going to be in position. I think opportunity is there. I kind of like this for Tetero McMillan. I think that he's got the ability to put up bigger numbers than what is being talked about right now.
Just not week 2 against the Cardinals.
You meant
not week 2 against the Cardinals.
I noticed you left a certain ASU running back off your top 3 offensive rookie of the year. When is Scat being handed the keys to that offense? That offense right now, the Giants' schedule is a nightmare world, right? It's one of the hardest schedules I have ever seen. No quarterback will survive that. At what point they're just like, Scat, get us through this season, 30 touches a game. Do you think that's on the table?
I just don't understand why you're wishing this on your guy, John.
I know.
Why are you putting this on him?
I do think we're going to be sitting here and it's going to be like mid to late October and you're going to come on this show and it'll have been announced like Cam Scat who's starting for the Giants just because they're just going to be like, whatevs. We need to get people fired up. I'm not into Jackson Dart. I don't think he's going to have any success with Dable this year. I think the Giants could unequivocally clean house and take another quarterback next year.
I think that is absolutely on the table. I think that when you look at the way that schedule unfolds, we were talking about this on the PHNX Eagles show on Thursday. It's very popular because they play the Eagles play the Giants in week 6, and then they play them again in week 8. And it's like those where they play the same team twice in 3 weeks. It's very possible by that point that team is like 1-7. And it's Jackson Dart time. It isn't by that point. It's just a rough start to the year for the Giants. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, yeah, Scottaboo is capable of being that kind of workhorse for an offense. Tyrone Tracy had a nice year last year. I think that people are getting a little bit out over their skis there with his ultimate upside. But I think that when you look at Scat, like, he is a great complement to Tracy's skill set.
I saw a video and it was showcasing the sheer size of Abdul Carter, and he's a monster. And there was Scat in his uniform, and then there was also Brian Dable. Who do you think maybe Scat was more closer in height and size in that scenario? Was it Abdul Carter or his head coach, Brian Dable?
My tells me that would probably be Dable, but it's I have to go find that picture.
Well, we're fired up for Camp Scatterboo this year. The Giants are going to be unwatchable until people are just going to demand that he gets the football. And I love that. Listen, he's out of the valley, which makes me sad, but he has been ingratiated by that fan base that has nothing going for him right now outside of Malik Neighbors. So, Fran, you're our number one pick in our every draft, every offseason, every show that we do. We appreciate you, my friend. Read his work right now at gophnx.com. Again, the draft guide from last year is still available. I'm sure he's working on that 2026 NFL draft guide. So I'm going to tell you right now, become a diehard. You're going to get access to it this time next year and beyond. Thank you, Fran. We appreciate you, my guy.
Really quick, I was watching Jordan Tyson, to wide receiver from Arizona State, with you guys solely in mind. With my friends at gophnx.com, just solely in mind. Let me get ahead of these Arizona State guys, so because Johnny's gonna be asking me about him every single week as the season gets underway.
A couple injuries on Tyson's resume, right? Didn't he? He had the collarbone. He also, I think, had a knee before that. But man, a big time playmaker for Sam Levitt. It's tough right now to figure out who can make up that first round high enough between Levitt and Tyson. They got some players there.
They do. I'm excited to dig deep into Levitt's film. The 26 database is underway. I was fine tuning the template today. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. Make sure you become a diehard so you can access this database as soon as possible.
Thank you, Fran. We'll talk to you soon, my guy.
See you guys.
Franchise mode, Fran Duffy. Make sure you're following along on Twitter, of course, at FDuffyNFL. The best insight you can find as far as draft coverage goes.
Absolutely. It's late afternoon on a Friday, and we are about to have a segment that hopefully a lot of people will see eventually. But if you miss this, you will not forgive yourself. And all I'm going to do to tease it is I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. My best Brian Windhorse. It's coming up. Not great for our audio listeners, but it's going to speak on something. It's going to say more without saying more. That's coming up on PHNX Cardinals.
Wow. What a tease. I'm at the edge of my seat.
I agree with that because it's a first-class tease, just like our friends First Class at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, specifically our friends at Wild Horse Pass. Can't wait to get back. But you don't have to wait. You can go and hang out at the Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar. Again, check them out right now. Playatgila.com. We're going to be out there this summer. Got a little staycation plan. You should too. It's home of the largest sportsbook casino in Arizona. First class all the way. I'm sad I don't get to go do watch parties until hopefully this fall. We did it on our away watch parties all last year. Huge success. Draft party, huge success. A+ food, A+ for service, A+ vibes. You do you. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com right now. Again, playatgila.com. Set it up right now. Get yourself a room. Check out the phenomenal pool area. Check out the steakhouse, the rooftop bar, and more. If you're thinking, I live in Arizona, I just want to have some good vibes, some good time, a staycation, or if you're coming into the area, you do not want to stay anywhere else, playatgila.com. Check it out now.
Love that. I also love what's going on and our friends over at Empire today. You're looking to upgrade your flooring, tile, you're looking maybe carpeting, hardwood, laminate. They got it all for you, and they got the professionals who are going to lead you along the way to make it quick, easy, convenient, what you're looking for. They are dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. This wasn't somebody like those big box stores who just filled out an application and said, hey, I'm available every day of the week, or I was working at Jack in the Box and they fired me and I need a new gig. No, these are flooring professionals, and they need your service because they want to help you out the most and get you the best deal and the best flooring possible. They got the virtual floor designer too. If you're on the fence, you could just use your smartphone, log on to empiretoday.com/PHNX, and you can look at what it would look like in your dwelling with that new flooring, the new carpeting, the new hardwoods, whatever it may be. And you can save $350 right away just by being a viewer, a listener of this program, by using the code PHNX. It's $350 off. Schedule that free in-home estimate today and use the code PHNX to get $350 discount when using the promo code PHNX. You heard right. $350 discount, code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details.
Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Let's play picture time. Let's talk about a photo that was shared on social media and was shared with me via direct messaging that I believe came from the Cardinals team site. Now, I have tried to confirm this by going on the team site, and I could not find the photo. So if anybody wants to correct me, I don't know the origination of this photo outside of, I believe, multiple people told me it was on the team site. So if you want to draw that,
you can go back to your DMs and see where the tweet was from.
No, it was not from the team account.
Yeah, it's on the team account.
Is it on the team account?
Yeah,
okay, so
at AZ Cardinals.
At AZ Cardinals. Okay, so but it's not on the website, but it's just it's tweeted out from their Twitter. Okay, well that would make a lot of sense, right? It's a great photo. If you don't know the photo I'm referring to, let's pull it up right now. There's the photo via azcardinals.com. Bo, would you mind telling me what this is that we're looking at here?
Looks like your Arizona Cardinals defensive secondary. I could probably go right to left on this bad boy.
Will you do that for us, please?
Sure. You've got second round pick Will Johnson here on the very right.
Yep.
I believe you've got yourself. Man, this is tough.
You're already stumped by number.
No. You can go way left. You got Starling Thomas there in the number 24. You got Rabbit Taylor Demerson. You got Budda Baker. You've got Denzel Ward there. You've got Jalen Thompson there. Keitrell Clark. Looks like Joey Blunt. I mean, you've got you got Jalen Jones, who's also involved. I mean, you've got basically every veteran, free agent addition, draft pick imaginable on this photo right here. I think Max Melton's in there as well. So it's a good mix there. Young youth and veterans. Hard pressed to see any omissions here.
Almost everyone. Almost. Cue it up, Kev. Let's see it. Almost everyone. What has this podcast been saying for months? Who is missing from that photo? I will leave it all to you to decipher who is missing from that photo. So people push back from this little fanboy podcast that could. There is the defensive back group for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025. There it is. Any comments, questions, and concerns from anybody?
We got some people in the chat that are nailing it. Brian, CBK, Owen.
All right. Just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm surprised that the team put that out there.
No, Scatterboo's not there either. Yeah, it's a good point.
Scatterboo, like Travis Hunter, could play both ways. Can we just be real about that? He could play special teams. He could play running back. He could play
toast.
Linebacker.
Kevo, he would be just absolutely lost in coverage.
Don't die. Don't do that for my guy. He's rocking 44, so that's an off-ball linebacker number. All right. So let's take a look one more time of the photo at hand. The defensive back group for the Arizona Cardinals feel very confident in that group. This podcast was reporting throughout the offseason. They wanted to add a veteran corner, and then that market imploded. So they did the next best thing. They got Will Johnson gift wrapped to them at pick 47. So if they add to that group, it'll probably be camp bodies. Maybe a value play in the summer if somebody wants to play here, but that's the group this year. Take a look at it. Bo's reporting it's on the Cardinals Twitter account, up still now, and people have taken this photo and have ran with it on Twitter. And I just want to remember, where you heard the origin of what's happening and not happening in that photo first. There it is, one more time. Who is there and who is not there, and they're not cutting players because they got paid last offseason. Blah, 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 blah. Nope. That's the secondary. That's it.
Elijah Jones, Keitrell Clark, Garrett Williams, of course, Rab. I mean, there they are, big happy family.
Mm-hmm. We're going into overtime here on PHNX Cardinals on a football Friday. Do we have one? There it is. Do we have a super chat to read? Not one.
I don't know.
I don't think we got one super chat. That's okay.
I think we're drawn dead. It's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Save your money.
Yeah.
We've got a big season coming up.
That's right. Everybody do me a favor. Go on your mobile phone, your smartphone device, and subscribe to PHNX Cardinals on YouTube. On wherever you get your podcasts. Go to Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever. Go into your podcast feed and subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a review, preferably a 5-star. No judgment, though. And do us a favor. We're going to be dropping audio exclusive content throughout the course of this summer. We've got special guests on deck. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say welcome to everybody who's signed up for our Big Bird Gang Travel road opener at New Orleans using the bonus code PHNX. I've already gotten like a slew of messages saying, I got my tickets, I got my package, I'm ready to go. Bo and I will be there in New Orleans week 1 at the Superdome. Myself, Bo, Tyler, the entire crew, hanging out, doing shows, and taking in the ass kicking of Tyler Shuck. It's going to be the best. Join us.
And great deal going on this weekend, Johnny. Talking to Tyler and the entire crew over there at Bird Gang Travel, trying to save you as much money, making it as easy possible, plug and play travel to follow your favorite team. This weekend only, $200 off any package that's going on. That includes New Orleans and Dallas. That's that Monday night game going on in week 9. Plus, Calais Campbell signed mini helmet included. Just use that code PHNX for a bonus swag bag. So it pays to be a listener of PHNX Cardinals. Use that code PHNX and you're going to get that swag bag along with the Calais Campbell mini, $200 off. It's a great deal to get yourself to the Big Easy, to Big D, to watch the Cardinals play in 2025.
Yep. Do us a favor. Join us in New Orleans. It will be the trip of the year. There's a super chat. Tony, $20. Thank you so much, Tony. Just dropped a super chat to get the show to run a little longer. Well, we appreciate that. Tony, if you got something that you want to drop, a question, comment, let us know. We'll put it on the screen. We appreciate you, Tony, a big friend and supporter of the program. What a week of shows, by the way. Thank you all for making our schedule release day such a banner success on Wednesday. We appreciate all the engagement, all the love, and people. You know, I love, and we mentioned this earlier, I love when people take the PHNX Cardinals schedule that our super talented team made here and use it as their own schedule. Do that. Save it. Keep it. Have that be your primary go-to when looking at games ahead for this fall. That makes us very proud here because we have the best production team, content team, social team in the market, bar none.
Our sweet infant baby Damon dog, just fresh off his first steps, he ran out of here. Wasn't available, and we just had a bunch of pinch hitters from Ayrton to, of course, our guy Shane to Kevin today. And if we didn't have such a strong production staff, it wouldn't be possible to keep this show afloat. Big thank you to everybody jumping in. Kev, nice work, my man. Mañana, Kyler Murray celebrity softball game. Can't wait. Kyler Murray hits the diamond for the first time since being drafted number 1 overall in the NFL. It took a little bit of a hiatus from hitting the bat and the ball. But look, he's going to be back out there tomorrow with his friends, his teammates, celebrity guests. Marvin Harrison Jr., I saw him in the lab swinging a baseball bat. I think it said for the 3rd time in his life. Not a bad swing, by the way. I would say that Marv, for somebody that has very rarely swung a bat, looks pretty good.
You would know, our resident baseball expert here on the podcast, played collegiately. I think that Marv is due to go yard tomorrow. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to put one over the fence. What do you think about that?
Wow. I mean, like, I see Devin Booker dropping a bomb at a local softball field.
Where the hell's Devin Booker tomorrow? Why isn't he playing in this game?
I don't know, man. Like, was Devin Booker getting ready for something tomorrow? I mean, I don't know anything, but could we have a surprise appearance?
Isn't that pretty strange that maybe he couldn't commit because they thought they were going to be playing, and they were like, I got to clear my schedule throughout May and June, which
he knew he wasn't playing, Johnny.
Figured out to be a big farce.
He knew months ago. Also, I think, you think Devin Booker would just let this happen in his own city without popping out? I think a surprise appearance is on the docket.
I love Devin Booker. I don't know if it's going to be his city much longer after the horror show of the last 2 seasons. I know people are not super high on K1. He's got his haters out there. Kyler Murray makes the playoffs this year. It's Kyler Murray's city.
Kyler Murray's hitting the bomb for sure tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
He might hit it like an actual bomb. He might hit it out of Salt River.
I think Devin Booker,
Trey McBride's going deep too.
Devin Booker's a little too Teflon for me, avoiding criticism. They don't win enough. They got to win more. But yeah, I hope he comes out tomorrow.
Is Drewski playing in the game?
No Drewski.
Okay, I was going to ask expectations for Drewski in the game, but he's not playing. Never mind.
But great lineup of celebrities, athletes, NBA stars, Phoenix Suns players. Also, you got musicians playing, and I think is it Rob Woods? Right, yeah. And then you got
Asher Angel. He's
Asher Angel, yeah, country sensation. So
they actually asked me to sing "America the Beautiful," but I declined.
Rap star Mac Wilson is a part of this as well. So it's MHJ, Trey McBride, Mike Willie. It's going to be your favorite Cardinals, and then also some on top of that. How about a gold jacket wearer and Terrell Owens?
Taco Corp 199. Will Johnson looking like Robo Corner in that picture. My son asked me because my family's my folks are in town. My son's going to the game, and he's like, "Is Will Johnson playing?" I said, "Will Johnson will be in this game next year." I don't think, out of respect to the rookies, I don't think any rookies are going. Maybe they'll show up in attendance and support. Yeah. Will Johnson will unequivocally be in this game next year. I'll make that prediction right now.
All right. I like that. It's a good prediction. Yeah. First annual Kyler Murray Foundation Celebrity Softball Game. Tickets still available. I think you can just walk up to the box office, get in there. Very moderately priced.
$25.
Great place. Great entertainment for a Saturday night. Get out there, Salt River Field, just off the 101 in Indian Bend. In Scottsdale. Johnny and I are going to be out there. We're going to be doing a broadcast. It's not going to be live, but we will have sights and sounds by Monday from that event. And of course, follow along at PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter and Instagram. Follow our guy Kevo. Kevo talks.
Kevo posts, but I also do talk.
Posts. Yeah, he does. He does. Sorry, I botched it. Didn't have it up in front of me. I do follow you, so I do know that.
That's what really matters.
At Johnny Venerable, and maybe. I think we might be interviewing Damon Dog to earn his position back to maybe join us as early as tomorrow.
Damon is supposed to be at the game. Would it shock me at all if he stiffed us again? It would not shock me. So I don't want to come on this show and publicize that Damon will be in attendance. If that's the reason you're coming to the Kyler Murray softball game, we just think of that as an added treat if you see the Damon Dog roaming the outfield.
That's right. Mr. Vacay. Is that his nickname now? It's Mr.
I brought it up on Wildcast the other day that we need to relitigate. We need to reevaluate who is Mr. Vacations. I no longer think it's Max Simpson. I do believe it is David Farrell.
Did he find like a loophole with our HR rep where he just gets infinite vacation days?
Think so.
Man. Good. I mean, good on him. Good on him. But Damon, time to come back to work. Time to come back to work, my guy.
Thank you to everybody who watched today. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. We'll talk to you maybe as early as tomorrow. Hopefully see you out there at Salt River Fields. But otherwise, talk to you Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.